Every year, countless children across the United States are diagnosed with dreadful diseases such as cancer, autism, epilepsy, and Crohn's disease. These children and their families are faced with a future filled with endless doctor appointments, expensive drugs and treatments, painful side effects, and even death. Now consider being a parent of a child with one of these conditions and discovering that there was an alternative treatment that has proven results with little to no harmful side effects. The only problem is this drug is not legal in your state and has a negative social stigma attached to it. The drug of which I am speaking is marijuana. I am David Nichols, and I would like to take the following opportunity to talk to you about why marijuana should be legalized nationally in the United States. Let's take a look at how marijuana became illegal in the first place. While marijuana has been used by almost all societies, its use was very prevalent among Latino and Afro American cultures in the early 20th century. Marijuana was first banned in El Paso, Texas in the early 1900s as a way to deal with Mexican immigrants. This same method of controlling immigrant population was first used in San Francisco after the railroads were built by banning opium and making opium use a deportable offense. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression, California outlawed marijuana as a means to deport Mexican migrant workers who were taking jobs away from the influx of workers from other parts of the country. A study later claimed that marijuana use caused men of color to seek out sex from white women, which led to the passage of the Tax Act of 1937, which banned the sale and use of marijuana. Later in 1970, the Controlled Substances Act listed marijuana as a Schedule I drug. Because of these facts, one could argue that the banning of marijuana was largely racially motivated. Aside from the recreational use of marijuana, many cultures have used marijuana as a medicine. As early as 1972, petitions were being signed to remove marijuana from the Schedule I drug classification list and approve it for medicinal use. Currently, 23 states and the District of Columbia have legal medical marijuana. It is used to treat diseases such as Alzheimer's, epilepsy, autism, multiple sclerosis, glaucoma, arthritis, depression, anxiety, hepatitis C, and cancer, just to name a few. The fact that medical marijuana is not legal in some states has led to medical migrants, families moving to states where marijuana is available for the treatment of their children's conditions, such as Crohn's disease or autism. For them, this means leaving everything they have and everyone they know behind and selling everything off to seek a cure for their children. Unfortunately, they take the marijuana back to their home state. They can be convicted of drug trafficking for taking it across state lines. Or if their child ends up in the hospital in their home state with a trace of marijuana or THC in their blood, the parents can be charged with child abuse and their children can be taken away. Among the many misconceptions of marijuana use is that it's highly addictive. It will give you brain damage, it'll make you lazy and unmotivated, and you'll get lung cancer. None of these myths are true. In fact, recent studies showed that in many cases, smoking marijuana actually increases lung capacity. Another benefit of legalizing marijuana is the relief that it would give to our strained criminal justice system. Theoretically, if marijuana was legal, drug prices would go down, which would in turn cause a crime to decrease. With fewer arrests being made, the court system would also see a huge relief in an already strained system. This would also mean a reduction in the number of people sent to the prison system. 5 to 6% of all arrests are currently attributed to marijuana, and with the United States housing 25% of the world's prisoners, this would be a great start to reducing the population in the prisons. One cannot talk about legalizing marijuana without talking about the huge economic impact that it would have on local, state, and federal government revenue and spending. Estimates put the savings that could be realized in the neighborhood of $10 to $14 billion annually. This would be realized in the form of $6.2 billion a year in tax revenue if marijuana had a sin tax like alcohol or tobacco. 7.7 billion would be saved in expenditures prohibiting marijuana, 2.4 billion at the federal level, and 5.3 billion at the state and local government level. An important thing to note also is that these figures are from a study done in 2005. The actual savings that would be experienced would likely be much greater. A final thing to consider in legalizing marijuana is the matter of public opinion. 52% of all Americans feel that it is time to legalize marijuana at a federal level. 23 states have already made marijuana legal for medical use. Alaska, Colorado, Oregon, Washington State, and the District of Columbia have already made marijuana legal for recreational use, with more states voting on it all the time. It's time to dispel the myths and decriminalize the use and sale of marijuana. In conclusion, I hope that I have educated you on many of the benefits of legalizing marijuana, the medicinal uses, the benefits from the criminal justice system standpoint, and the economic benefits that our state and local governments and taxpayers would reap. I believe the national legalization of marijuana should be done as soon as possible because there are millions of people who could benefit from the medicinal benefits. And the longer we wait, the more money our nation loses out on. It's simply time to repeal these racially motivated and archaic laws and end the prohibition on marijuana. Thank you for listening.